this thematic, this topic, this way of thinking through the concepts of empire and anti-empire, this great narrative which is supposed to oppose two big camps, the camp of the empire on one side, the camp of the anti-empire on the other side, America, England and Israel on one side, Ahmadinejad, Hugo Chavez and Castro on the other side. The fact of building between the two the narrative of a gigantic opposition, a military version of the Carpaccio painting, Saint George and the Dragoon, Saint George being Ahmadinejad and Chavez, Dragoon being America and Israel. This way of framing the world has just the terrible effect to put out of the frame a lot of conflicts. The majority of the suffering of today who have just one problem, they are out of frame. They have nothing to do with this great narrative. What does it happen to you in the narrative of the left of today if you are, for example, a Tutsi of Rwanda, killed by hundreds of thousands because you have in front of you some crazy guys believing in Hutu power? What happens to you? You are not on the American side, you are not on the anti-empire, you are nowhere, you don't exist, nobody takes care. What does it happen to you when you deal with leftists and liberals who say that it is a task of these days to support the humiliated, offended, oppressed Muslim populations? Great principle. I sign, I agree. But what happens to you when you belong to a Muslim population which is the Muslim population of Chechnya, or the Muslim population 15 years ago of Bosnia-Herzegovina? What happens to you? In other words, if you are not Palestinian. If you are Palestinian, you have in front of you the devilish, horrible, full of evil America. You are a hero. Even if you, when you count your deaths, you count a few thousand, which is huge, of course. You are the salt of the earth. But when you count your death in hundreds of thousands, like in Chechnya, and that you have not in front of you America, but Putin, the new mafioso regime of Russia, out of frame. No demonstrations, no flags in the streets, no screaming in front of White House, and so on. So a machinery, which is the anti-American machinery, the anti-imperialist machinery, which belongs to the patrimonial, to the left of today, exactly as the Marxism belonged to her yesterday, and which has the effect to make it blind and to make her, the left, deny what should be her mission, which is to support the victims, to help them as much as she can and wherever they are.